Muy bien, camaradas, les traigo ahora la campaña. No sé si esto se debe a llamar campaña. Bueno, les dejo que oigan.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day, every month, of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-winning, Stanley relished every moment that the orders gave him, as though he had been made exactly for his job. Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Bueno, les decía que les traigo este gameplay de Stanley Parable. No sé si se le considere gameplay, pero o sí, bueno, les decía que falló. Disculpen eso, pero me falló el mouse.
Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
No tengo idea qué pasó. No tengo idea. Cerré la puerta sin querer y me empezó a decir eso. Vamos, ¿qué nos tiene a decir? Yo sé que todos lo han subido, pero es de los pocos juegos nuevos que están de moda que mi computadora soporte. Claro, con las gráficas a lo más mínimo.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Con las gráficas al mínimo, pero lo puede jugar bien fluido. No hago intento de abrir las puertas, pues sé que todas están cerradas.
Touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Ahí está la respuesta. Y cuando hable el narrador me voy a quedar callado.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
A la izquierda, pero voy a cerrarla. No se puede. Izquierda, 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 izquierda. Es que este juego no es tanto de comentar, pero aún así yo... Miren, aquí viene algo.
There was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
El futuro fue ayer, mañana es ahora. Ok, para... No, se hace largo el gameplay. Se pudo abrir. Entonces no hay que confiar sin intentar abrir. Entonces, ¿para qué me dejan abrirla?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Pudiera ir abajo, pero yo quiero conocer la oficina del jefe. Así que vamos arriba. Y si más al rato se empieza a escuchar un ruido, es que encendieron la tele. Ejecutivos. Está media de juego de terror esta oficina. Va a ser esta, va a ser... ¿Dónde está? No es esa. Jefe.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Jefe.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
¿Qué dice? ¿Que agarre su portafolio? No. Tengo que aumentar la aceleración del mouse. Aquí está.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 284.
Ya sé que era esa, pero me equivoqué. Y ahora ya se me volvió.
2845.
Ok, ya discúlpame. 2845. Ahí está.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
¿Cuál pasaje? Órale. Este jefe tiene un búnker antibombas aquí. Quiero aumentar la aceleración del mouse. Doy vuelta y siento que es muy lento. Bueno, para el próximo episodio. A ver, rápido. Tecla. ¿Será aquí o en sensibilidad? Okay. No, era en aceleración. Bueno, ya. Ahí está. Vamos a Silent Hill. No es Outlast. Cargando. Yo sé que todos lo han subido, pero me da igual. Yo tengo meses sin subir un solo video, tanto aquí como en mi otro canal. Ese lo voy a subir a mi canal donde subo historias de videojuegos. Cuando yo tenga mi computadora aquí en mi canal principal, donde subo cosas al azar o algo así, subiré partidas del simulador de vuelo. Y aquí empezaré a subir partidas de un juego que soporte mi computadora o de emuladores como de Game Boy Advance.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
En serio, parece juego de terror esto.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Control mental. A ver en qué estabas metido, Stanley. Escapar o control mental. Control mental. Aquí sale el doctor ese de los X-Men. Control mental.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
A huevo. ¿Qué tantas cosas vería mi jefecito aquí? Aquí está.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. Lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
¿Se repetirán las imágenes? ¿Les habrán puesto ese detalle? Creo que ya vi una repetida. Sí, por ejemplo, ahí estaba uno en el sillón. Bueno, ya. Soy el 427, ¿dónde estaré? Ya no me dejaron ver. El 427, 416, 427, ahí estoy yo. Vamos a ver qué sale. Sí, ya la reconocí.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Eso me recuerda a la vida real.
The proof, the heart of the operation, controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life.
Que destruir Stanley.
He would dismantle the controls once and for all.
¿Cómo que es esto? No. A ver, no. Voy a hacer acá. Típico. Esto me recuerda a la vida real en los empleados reales del mundo. Así es la realidad de este
And
mundo.
when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Como que si lo apago se va a acabar el juego. Ay, no le di sin querer.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode.
Pues mejor para que se elimine por completo.
How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start.
Ay.
What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're going to die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. but I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left, but I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Sam. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Sold? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here. Just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life? Or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
A ver, es complicado estar leyendo y estar buscando la forma de que esta madre termine. Bueno, hasta aquí le voy a dejar y después veamos qué sigue. Adiós, camaradas. Bueno, yo la voy a seguir jugando, pues, pero ustedes. Hola, camaradas, y estamos de vuelta. ¿Y qué pasó? Bueno, que inició la partida. Cuando explotó todo, inició la partida. Y otra vez me mandó al inicio de mi oficina donde empiezas a caminar y todo eso. Así que para que no se les hiciera aburrido, ni a mí, caminé a lo loco, lo más rápido que podía. El comentarista solamente me decía bla 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 y cambiaba algunas palabras. Oh, que la hora que pasó. Oh, pues apenas le iba a dar en off. Ay, Dios mío. ¿Qué habrá pasado? Y el micrófono, viendo las grabaciones anteriores, me acabo de dar cuenta que tiene un sonidito.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Les decía que ese sonito que se escucha es de
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Ya gané, ya terminé el juego. ¿Qué onda? Ah, el sonidito es porque se descompuso el micrófono del headset. Pinche marca corriente. Me costaron... ¿Cuánto me costaron? Ah, no me acuerdo. 200, 150, no sé. Pero no, solamente lo usé un par de veces y ya empieza con ese sonidito. Ah, Dios mío, la marca es Burago y el headset es el 201. Y también he escuchado que su headset más caro, que vale 1000 pesos, también es que sale corriente. Tal vez la marca es porque sea mexicana y acaba de empezar, pero por lo mismo le acaban de empezar, deben de meter calidad a sus productos. Los teclados, su teclado luminoso, dicen que luego se despinta las teclas. Y si es verdad. Deberían de empezar con y su una tableta suya que su batería solamente dura 2 horas. ¿Para qué chingados me sirven 2 horas? Ay, esa marca. Yo la he apoyado, pero me está decepcionando. O sea, ya terminé el juego. Oh, pues ahora vamos a la derecha.
Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I wanted all along. I got what I wanted. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Entonces ya lo terminé. ¿A poco ya? Pues.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Ahora vamos a contradecirlo en todo.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, but in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley left from the platform
Yo creí que no me podía
to his
caer.
death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Bueno, ya. Ahora, hace rato lo saqué en todo lo que me decía. Ahora vamos a contradecirlo. Veamos qué pasa. Pues sí, no tiene caso que sube este video durando así de poquito. ¿Quién se iba a imaginar que me lo iba a terminar? Yo creí que el juego duraba más.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Sí, ya no me digas nada. Ok, a la derecha.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ok, sí está bonita la sala. Esta sala me gusta. Para sentarse, relajarse, no, sino que pase el tiempo rápido. Yo dije que no iba a hablar cuando hablara el narrador, pero ya me enfadé y quiero ver qué pasa.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
¿Para qué te podrás agachar?
Really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside.
Ella regresa a tu vida.
To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can...
El teléfono. Entonces Stanley está casado.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Dije que lo iba a que le iba a contradecir.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
No, yo no voy a presionar nada. Dije que lo iba a contradecir en todo. Vamos a ver qué me dice. Quiero comer. Tengo hambre. Dime algo. Yo no sé, de verdad, ¿para qué me deja echarme? No, creo que sí es obligatorio primero. Ni modo. Voy a pausar el video. Vamos a ver si no. O si no.